My name is David. I am 76 years old. There are seasons in life that change you quietly, not with noise or chaos, but with weight. Grief was that season for me. It did not arrive all at once. It settled in slowly, and over time, it nearly took my faith. I want to speak today about grief and God, not as an idea, not as a lesson from a book, but as something I lived through, something I am still living with. When I was younger, I believed faith would protect me from the worst kinds of pain. I believed that if I trusted God and tried to live rightly, grief would come in smaller doses, or at least it would not stay very long. I was wrong about that. Grief does not ask permission. It does not measure your faith before it enters. It comes whether you are prepared or not. And when it came into my life, it did not come gently. I lost someone I loved deeply, someone who had been part of my daily life for many years, the kind of presence you do not notice fully until it is gone. One day they were there, the next day they were not, and everything felt unfamiliar. At first, I stayed strong, or at least I thought I did. I handled arrangements. I spoke when needed. I nodded at the right moments. I told myself that faith meant composure, but grief does not stay on the surface. As weeks passed, the quiet became heavier, the house felt different, time moved strangely, some days moved too slowly. Others disappeared without warning. I slept, but I did not rest. I continued praying. But my prayers changed. They became shorter, quieter. Sometimes they stopped altogether, not because I stopped believing, but because I did not know what to say. That was the beginning of the struggle. I still believed in God, but I did not feel close to Him. I read Scripture, but the words felt distant. I went to church, but I felt like an observer rather than a participant. Grief has a way of isolating you even when people surround you. There were moments when I wondered if something was wrong with me, if my faith was weaker than I thought, if I had failed in some unseen way. There is a passage in Scripture that speaks about the Lord being near to the brokenhearted. I had read it many times before, but during grief it felt hard to believe. Near did not feel near. What I did not understand then is that grief often dulls our ability to feel, not God's ability to be present. During that season, I stopped trying to feel strong. I stopped trying to have the right words. I began to simply show up. Some days, showing up meant sitting quietly with Scripture without reading much. Other days, it meant walking slowly and letting memories come without pushing them away. Sometimes it meant doing nothing at all. What held my faith was not clarity. It was habit, simple, faithful habit. I continued to open my Bible even when it felt heavy. I continued to bow my head even when I had no words. I continued to attend church even when songs brought tears instead of comfort. Looking back now, I see that God was not asking me to be strong. He was asking me to remain. There is a scripture that speaks about endurance producing character. I did not like that verse when I was grieving. It felt too distant, too neat. But time has a way of revealing meaning slowly. Endurance during grief does not look heroic. It looks quiet. It looks ordinary. It looks like waking up again. It looks like choosing not to withdraw completely. It looks like allowing God to be present even when you cannot sense Him. There were days when I felt my faith slipping, days when doubt whispered quietly, days when silence felt louder than prayer. Those were the moments when grief nearly took my faith. What held it was not understanding. It was trust built long before grief arrived. Faith that has been practiced over time does not disappear in one season. It bends, it strains, but it remains. I began to notice something during those months. Even when I felt distant from God, I was still being steadied. I did not fall apart the way I feared. I did not become bitter. I did not lose myself completely. That steadiness did not come from my strength. It came from God's faithfulness. Grief teaches you what your faith is actually built on. It removes everything that is unnecessary. It strips away performance. It reveals what remains when comfort is gone. What remained for me was a quiet trust, a belief that God was still good even when life felt unbearably hard, a belief that presence mattered more than explanation. Over time, I learned that grief does not end. It changes, it softens, it settles into something you carry rather than something that overwhelms you. Faith does the same. My faith after grief is not louder, it is deeper, it is less certain about answers and more confident in God's character. I no longer expect God to remove pain quickly. I trust Him to walk with me through it. If you are grieving now, I will not tell you that time heals everything. I will not tell you that faith removes sorrow. What I will tell you is this: grief does not mean your faith is failing. It means you are human. God is not offended by your silence. He is not distant because you feel numb. He remains faithful even when you cannot feel His presence. What held my faith was not emotion, it was commitment. Quiet, steady, imperfect commitment. And that was enough. Today, I still miss the one I lost. Grief still visits from time to time, but it no longer threatens my faith. It has shaped it. I understand now that faith is not proven in moments of joy. It is revealed in seasons of loss. If you are walking through grief, you are not alone. You are not weak. You are not behind. God is still with you, even now, even here. Before I finish, I want to leave you with a gentle blessing. May the Lord hold you when words are difficult. May He steady you when grief feels heavy. May you discover that faith can survive sorrow. And may you find peace in knowing that God has not left your side. Thank you for listening. I am grateful to share this with you, and if you return again, you will always be welcome here.